Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Today we are going to be discussing artifacts and what tier I think they are, and I think that majority of people would probably agree on. Not everybody. I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this one, to be honest. If anybody sees this at all, I'm sure there's going to be 1,000 comments down below. I'm already prepared for it, saying, "No, that shouldn't have been C tier. That should have been A tier. It's better than that." Anyways, we're going to ignore those comments, okay? This is what I think, and this is what I'm going to assume the majority of people also think from other videos that I've seen and from just the general community. What artifacts are better than others? Now, this video will be helpful to anybody that is either new to the game or just wants to know like what the most powerful artifacts are. There actually are quite a few that you probably don't know about, believe it or not. There is actually quite a few that we can't even unlock in the game yet, which is kind of stupid to say, but I mean, it's the truth. There's a lot of these that are really, really difficult to farm just because of their rarity. So a lot of these that I'm going to be going over aren't necessarily going to be best just because of their stats. I'm going to be also including into the tiers if they're easily farmed. That's going to be one thing, as well as at what stages in the game you can actually get these artifacts. Those are also going to be two components to this. So to start things off, let's do this. So we're going to start off with Adventurer, which the 2-piece bonus is max HP is increased by 1,000, and opening chest regens 30% max HP over 5 seconds. That's if you have all 4 pieces. So that is this one right here. And that's an S tier. S tier. No. I think we can all agree it's a D tier. I mean, a bonus of 1,000 HP really is nothing, and opening chests is not going to help you late game. These are obviously ones that you get very early in the beginning, along with this one, which is Traveling Doctor set, and also this one right here, the Lucky Dog set. Neither of these are necessarily very good, but you know, if you got them right in the beginning, you might as well throw them on. But I would not recommend powering them up pretty much at all. Like, unless they've got really good substats, I would really just hold off on powering up those, because it's not really going to be worth it in my opinion. So the Lucky Dog, if you didn't know, which is this one, increases defense by 100, and the Traveling Doctor increases incoming healing by 20%. Instructor, which is we're going to place it in B just for now, and we're going to read what it does. So increases elemental mastery by 80, and after using an elemental skill, it increases all party members' elemental mastery for 120 seconds. So this is purely elemental mastery. So honestly, I think that this set can be pretty dang good if equipped to the right person. So I don't really want to put it in C because it's not really, I don't think, a C tier. So we're going to just put it in, am I going to have to make a whole new category? Because I feel like putting it right between B and C. We're going to leave it in B. This is not a terrible set to have, okay? So especially early game, like if you can equip 2 instructor set items, I mean, that's really gonna help you a lot for any characters that do any damage with their abilities at all. Like, it helps a ton. So the berserker set, which is this one, increases your crit rate by 12%, and when your HP is below 70%, the crit rate increases by an additional 24%. So that is with, of course, the 4 stack, which I didn't say I was going to mention, but I feel like I have to. I just feel like I kind of have to. So the 2 set bonus of the crit rate is really not very good, in my opinion. That 12% crit rate can be obtained through substats if you're powering up these artifacts. Now, keep in mind, this is coming from somebody who is above AR 30. So the threshold for early to late game is right around AR 30. If you are AR level 30 right now, then this all should basically apply to you. But if you're before that, then most of this advice that I'm giving you is for later game stuff. Like this crit rate that gives 12% with a 2-piece is really like not very good. I'm just being honest, because once you power up runes, that crit rate is going to be obtained in much easier ways, and in my opinion, there's just better artifacts that you'll be able to use. So I'm going to actually put this in C tier, and that is because of also the 4-set bonus, which is when HP is below 70%, your crit rate is also increased. Now, this can be a good set. I'm not saying it can't, but this is not one that I would recommend, because personally, I would try to get crit damage if possible and crit rate through substats and through main stats, not through the rune set bonuses itself. Okay, moving on. So next is the exile set, and I'm actually just going to throw this one in C tier as well. I'm not really sure of any builds that use this one myself right now, that use it like super well or anything. It's energy recharge plus 20% for the 2-set, and then the 4-set is using an elemental burst regenerates 2 energy for other party members every 2 seconds for 6 seconds. So energy recharge for 20%, like might be sort of good. But yeah, I can't really think of any builds off the top of my head that this would be super useful on, so we're going to keep that in C tier. You know what? I've actually changed my mind. That's going to be B tier. I'm sorry. Had to do it. Next, we've got the Resolution of the Sojourner set, which is right here, and this is going to be attack plus 18%, and that alone is actually pretty good, I'm not going to lie. I think it deserves being a B tier, just based off of that 2-set. The 4-set, however, it increases your charged attack crit rate by 30%, so charged attacks aren't very good in this game. They have their uses in some scenarios, but charged attacks really aren't that great. So, you know, it's a tough decision though, actually. So actually, yeah, I'm gonna move this to C, just because the 4-set bonus is definitely not worth it, in my opinion. You almost never use charged attacks, unless there's, well, there are some characters that do use charged attacks well, don't get me wrong, but because most don't use charged attacks, I'm just gonna put that in C. I think it deserves C. Alright, next up is the Martial Artist set. Now this set has to be either B or A. It has to be. If you don't know what the Martial Artist set does, it increases normal attack and charged attack damage by 15%. That is the 2-piece, okay, so that's already pretty dang decent compared to some of the other artifacts that we've seen so far. And after using elemental skill, increases normal attack and charged attack damage by 25% for 8 seconds. So that is basically just a whole bunch of attack buff. So that is what, 40% increased attack all around? That alone is pretty dang good. I'm not gonna lie. If you just stack tons of attack with this, this can be really, really powerful. So we're gonna put that in A tier. I think most of us will agree that it's either an A or a B tier. I'm sure some of you would even say it's an S tier. And some of you trolls out there would probably say it's a D tier. Alrighty, so now we're actually getting into artifacts that are a bit harder to farm. You're gonna be struggling to get these artifacts for quite some time, most likely. A lot of these are very rare, or you can only obtain them like once a week. Okay, so keep that in mind. These are gonna be better just because of their rarity. That's how this game works. The Defender's Will gives you an increase of 30% defense just for having 2 on. Okay, that alone is an A tier in my opinion. 30% is a number that is not seen on any other 2-stacks in this so far, and that alone to me is just insane. The other piece to this, the 4-stack, increases elemental res by 30% for each element present in the party. So, in other words, if you have 4 different elements in your party, this should stack with your elemental resonance, which if you didn't know, I'm sure most of you know by now, but that is a bonus that you get by having multiple characters of a specific type together in your party that stacks with this. It should anyways, I believe. Hopefully I'm not wrong about that. But so if you have 4, what is that? 3, 6, 9, 12, 120% elemental resonance, I think, or actually it might only go up to 90. I don't know if it counts yourself or not. I'm gonna guess that it doesn't, so it's probably a 90% elemental resistance, which is pretty dang crazy. That's an A tier for sure in my book. Okay, so this one is the Heart of Bravery, which is not very good in my opinion. I'm gonna actually throw this one in C because this does an attack of 18%, which is and then increases damage by 30% against enemies with more than 50% HP. So I don't see how this could be good. Like, fighting enemies, once you get them down below 50% HP, that doesn't really mean much. You still have to kill them the rest of the way, the rest of their HP. So, like, I just don't think it's very good. Now, it's a little bit rare, and, honestly, I'm kind of disappointed in this one. I wish it was better than it is, not gonna lie. Next up, we have the Gambler set. This increases elemental skill damage by 20%. That's a pretty fat number for having just 2. Especially because elements, as we know, their abilities are extremely effective. Like, anybody that plays this game knows that if you just spam abilities with all your characters, you can kill stuff very, very quickly. Very good, in my opinion. The 4 stack of this is defeating an enemy has a 100% chance to remove elemental skill cooldown, but it can only occur every 15 seconds. That is pretty crazy. No cooldown on a skill, that's pretty dang good. So I'm going to have to go with either A or B tier. Because of the 2 set being so good, I think that it is an A tier. We're going to leave it there. The next is the Scholar set. This one's a little bit rarer too, but not super bad. And it gives you an energy recharge of 20%. And honestly, maybe you guys like this one. I'm not sure. The 4 set is gaining energy, gives 3 energy to all party members who have a bow or a catalyst equipped. So this only works for bows or catalysts. I don't see why, honestly, the 4 stack would be even worth it. I'm tempted to put this in C tier. The energy recharge thing is decent, but yeah, I'm going with C tier on this one. I don't really like Scholar, to be honest. Let me know what you guys think about that one, though. Let me know what you think about all of these. If you think I'm wrong about these, if you think Lucky Dog should be an S tier, tell me, all right? Just straight up tell me that I'm an idiot, okay? Do it. Next up, we have the Gladiators Finale. This one, I'm going to throw an A straight away. I mean, most of these are going to be really good. Okay, so we actually forgot about this one, the Tiny Miracle set. Forget I said anything about that last one. You never saw anything. We gotta go over this one first. So it's the Tiny Miracle set, and it gives, for the 2-piece, gives an elemental resistance bonus of 20%. That's not terrible, but let's read the 4 stack. So incoming elemental damage increases corresponding to elemental resistance type by 30%. So in other words, if you're getting attacked by a fire wizard, then you're going to get a res bonus of 30% for fire. And it can only occur once every 10 seconds, though. So I think what that means is you can only have one resistance type at a time. So in other words, if you're being attacked by fire, you can only have that extra resistance for the fire and not another ability that is fighting you. So the 4 stack is really not that great. It is a good buff for resistance if you're into resistance, I guess. But I think I'm going to throw it in a C tier. All elemental resistance increased by 20% is decent for the 2 stack. So we'll keep it in C. It's between C and B, but we're keeping it in C. Alrighty, so now we are getting to the good stuff here. All of the rare stuff. The Goldies, the Goldilocks. The Gladiators Finale is this one right here, and it increases attack by 18% for the 2 set. Right off the bat, that's pretty dang good, so we're going to already know that's probably at least a B or higher. Now, the 4 set is if the wielder of this artifact set uses a sword, claymore, or polearm, so basically anything that does DPS in high amounts, I guess. I know there are some exceptions, like books and catalysts can do a lot of damage, but sword, claymore, polearm increases their normal attack damage by 35%. That's normal attack damage, however, so Why is it 18%? That's such a weird number. I feel like, can you just round it up, please? Like 20%? Can we just call it 20? So this set, if you're using all four, it gives you a 53% attack damage bonus. Regular attacks, just only normal attacks. That in itself, I think, is an A tier set. A 53% increase just off of the set bonus. Now imagine if you stack that and you're just going for pure attack. Now keep in mind, if you're late game in this, how artifacts work in most gacha games, including this one, and this is fact, okay? Do not try to argue with me on this. This is fact, okay? This is fact. Crit damage late game and crit rate late game are what you want instead of attack. There are a few exceptions with some characters, however. So just keep that in mind, okay? If you're building a DPS in your end game, like after AR 30, then go for crit rate, go for crit damage, and attack wouldn't hurt either. It doesn't hurt to have attack, but what I'm saying is if you can get everything, all of your substats to be working in crit rate and crit damage, that's going to be way better than attack percent will ever be, because crit damage is obviously going to start off higher than your attack will, okay? So this is an A tier. It's not an S tier because it's not crit damage, but attack can still be insane. Like 53% with just the set bonus, perfect. Maiden Beloved. Okay, this is an S tier, and you might be like, what? How is that an S tier? This one's not even that good. Actually, just hear me out, okay? So the two set is character healing effectiveness is 15% more, okay? So you're going to be getting 15% extra healing on all of your characters. Now, the reason this is an S tier is because if you can pair this with the right build, this can be crazy good. Like, for example, on my Barbara, I have a book, I believe, that heals party members passively while she's attacking. So every single attack she does will heal my teammates, and she heals off of HP. So if you stack her with HP and you put this set on her, it's crazy. It's really good. So using an elemental skill or burst increases healing received by all party members by 20% for 10 seconds. So essentially with this set, you can get a 35 bonus to all of your party members for bonus healing. It's just a really good set to have on any healing character. Next up, we have the Noblesse Oblige, and that's elemental burst damage plus 20%. And the 4-stack is using an elemental burst increases all party members' attack by 20% for 12 seconds. This set is an S tier as well. I personally have not even got one of these yet, so I'm excited for when that does happen. But yeah, this set, crazy good. Just crazy good. It's one of those things that is just super rare, but insanely good. The elemental burst damage is like pretty decent. You put that on anybody that has really high DPS abilities. But the the 4-stack is really what makes this set the S tier, in my opinion. Next, we have the Bloodstained Chivalry, and this one, in my opinion, isn't that great. It's physical damage plus 25%, and then the 4-stack is after defeating an opponent, increases charge attack damage by 50%, and reduces its stamina cost to 0 for 10 seconds. If you have a character that you like to use charged attacks for, go for this. It's great for that. It's fantastic. I personally almost never use charged attacks in any of my builds, so this one for me, honestly, has to probably be a B tier. The physical damage is decent, pretty dang good, but I don't see how that's an A or an S tier, in my opinion. Next, we have the Wanderer's Troop. And hopefully I'm saying that right. The elemental mastery is increased by 80. So that's for the 2 set. That alone is pretty decent. And increases charge attack damage by 35% if character uses Catalyst or Bow. Another one of those very special circumstances. If you feel like that's going to be good for your team, absolutely build it. Go for it. But if you're not using a bow or a catalyst, then there's really no point. But this can be a very good set. So right in between A and B for me, but I'm just gonna put it in B. We're just gonna throw it in B and call it good. That elemental mastery is it's gotta go in A. It's gotta go in A. I'm sorry. The 2 set is actually pretty dang good, so we're gonna leave it in A. The next few that we've got here are Abyssal Domain exclusives, as of right now at least. That might change in the future, we don't know. But I'm going to leave this right where it belongs in S tier, because the 4 set is crazy. So Anemo damage bonus is plus 15%. Yes, that's very specific, but increases swirl damage by 60% and decreases opponent's elemental resistance to the element infused in the swirl by 40% for 10 seconds. Okay, so yeah, that's an S tier. I think most of us can agree on that. That is crazy. The fact that you can decrease any monster's elemental resistance, that's pretty insane. So we're gonna leave it right there. Okay, so moving on swiftly here. I'm trying to make this quicker, hopefully. Jeez. The Thundering Fury set. This increases electro damage bonus by 15% and increases damage caused by overloaded electro charge and superconduct damage by 40%. And triggering any of those effects will cause elemental school cooldown by 1 second and can occur every 0.8 seconds. That's an S tier. If that's not obvious to you, that's literally an S tier. You can, if you have the ability to electrocharge, overload, and superconduct monsters like consistently, then you're going to be getting cooldown times that are very short, and you're just going to be able to keep spamming faster and faster with your abilities. And this can be paired very well with any set that gives extra elemental damage to your party members. Those together, I think, make an excellent opposition. This next one is the Thunder Soother, and I'm gonna put this one in A. I personally don't find it very good, but its electro resistance increased by 40%. So right off the bat, it's not very impressive to me. It's very circumstantial. Like, if you're running around in the world, chances of you running into an electro enemy aren't super, it's not rare, but like it's just random. So you might be fighting a fire and that might be completely useless to you in that situation. However, 4 set increases damage against enemies affected by electro by 35%. So I mean, it's up to you whether or not you want to run it, but this is definitely not. I almost want to put it in B. I'm going to put it in B just because of how rare this is, how hard it is to get, and what you get for it. I don't think that this is very good for how rare it is. Okay. So this one actually I didn't know about, but this is like a triple S tier. This needs to be like literally up one more. This is probably the best artifact set in the entire game, to be honest. Like, let me just read you what it is. So your pyro damage is increased by 15%, and it also increases overloaded and burning damage by 40%, and increases vaporize and melt damage by 15%. Also, that's not it. That's not the end. Hold on. There's more. Using an elemental skill increases 2-piece set effects by 50% for 10 seconds. That's not it either. It stacks up to 3 times. I mean, good lord. They just put, like, what could have been on 2 separate sets onto 1 set. This is an insane artifact. Unbelievable. And if you've got Diluc, I feel like this set is a must-have on him. That is just absolutely crazy. The next one is Lava Walker, increases Pyro Res by 40% and increases damage against enemies that are burning or affected by Pyro by 35%. Again, very circumstantial. I'm going to throw it in B because having resistance on a 2-piece set is not favorable, in my opinion. It can be a good thing, but not if it's a single element that you're resistant to. That's just my thoughts. I don't really agree with using sets like that, so there's also two that I think we're missing on here, the Glacier and Snowfield and the Icebreaker sets, which do very similar things as the other ones we've read so far. So like cryo damage bonus and the cryo res increase by 40%. I think those would be very similar to where I put them. So the cryo res would probably be in the B tier, and the cryo damage would probably be an A or an S tier. Next, we have the Archaic Petra, which is elemental. No, not elemental. 15% increased geo damage. So there's not very many geo characters in the game right now, to be completely honest, that are very good. And the foresight is upon obtaining a crystal created through geo elemental reaction, all party members gain 35% res to that particular element for 10 seconds. Only one form of elemental res can be gained in this manner at any one time. So yeah, this one I don't feel is very good. It can be good. I'm gonna say it's either an A or a B. I'm gonna leave it in B though, just because of the state the game's in right now. There isn't very many like very decent geo characters. It seems like they've really just crapped all over the whole geo line, in my opinion. I don't know what you guys feel about that, but I mean, Noelle, on, man. Come on, just give us something a little better. Okay, last and definitely not. Oh, wait, no, that's not last but least. There's one that I forgot to include in here, which is an S tier. We're going to go over that one first. So these are the tiaras. These are the ones that give you affected by certain elements for 40% less time. These are single set items, so you can equip one. And they all go to the same slot, so it's not like you can equip 5 of these in different slots. But those are S tier. Tiaras are S tier. You should almost always try to have one equipped, because you're gonna get an extra set bonus of 40% affected by whatever element for 40% less time. Tiaras, S tier, in my opinion. And last but not least, we have the Retracing Bolide. Heck if I know. Increases the effectiveness of shields by 35% and gain an additional 40% normal and charge attack damage while under the protection of a shield. So I don't know how often we use shields in this game. It doesn't feel like very often. I'm going to throw that in B tier for that reason. I think it is a decent artifact, but I mean, like, it's kind of sad how many actually gold artifacts are in the B tier region. A lot of those just aren't crazy good, but there you have it, guys. That's the end of the video. This has been way longer than I wanted it to. I'm very sorry. My apologies for that. But if you guys enjoyed, please do go over, follow my Twitch. It's all in the bio. You guys know what to do. Like the video, all that good stuff. Hurrah, hurroo. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Make sure you subscribe for more great Genshin content. See you then. Peace!